Many years ago, the worlds of humans and monsters began to intersect. Giant monsters appeared from another dimension. Humans with special abilities became hunters. But that didn't matter much to Lishawi. One morning, Lee saw a bread seller talking to a boy. "What does the little black man want to eat this morning? Bread or donuts?" the salesman asked. "Bread, please," the boy replied. No, I think he still wants donuts," the vendor laughed. Lishavi stood in indecision, choosing between bread and donuts. "No, it's still bread. Wait a little while. I'll take the donuts," he said to the clerk. After shopping, Lei, carrying 2 bags of baked goods, walked past his classmates. He was shy and avoided socializing. In the classroom, he put the pastries on the table and sat down. The 2 girls in front were talking animatedly. I really like this perfume," said one, holding out a bottle to the other. Suddenly, she turned to Lo and smiled. "Good morning," she said. Lei was confused, blushed, and looked away. "Hey, good morning," he muttered. Lee thought about life, about how nice it would be to be able to live several lives and choose the best one. He looked out the window where a spider was weaving a web. Suddenly, Le noticed a strange red light. A giant circle that looked like a spatial gate appeared in the sky. The frightened classmates panicked and asked each other what was going on. "Here's the corrected script." Suddenly, the classroom door swung open. A boy in a school uniform, but with his eyes and mouth sewn shut, rushed in. Heads with teeth hovered around him, inspiring terror. A frightening aura emanated from him. As he entered, he caused everyone's fear. Lee jumped up, asking in surprise, "Is that him?" Out of fear, he could only utter, "Demon!" The demon, looking excited, laughed loudly and shouted, "Begin roll call, students!" The first girl summoned stammered out, "Hamea, Mami!" Kur's classmate didn't have time to say anything before her head exploded, splattering blood on the face of Lonnie sitting next to her, who froze in horror. There was no blood left on the floor. Lei exclaimed, "What the hell is this?" The demon, satisfied with what he had done, laughed and said in an ominous tone, "Next!" Everyone rushed out in terror, trying to get to the door. The demon, Kier, stood still, calling names. Ouch! The man's head exploded. One eye was able to escape. Fang Shi, Guyang Hotland, and Jin took Jin away. Lei stood in the corner, trembling and asking himself, "What the hell is this? How did this monster get into my school?" Classmates who ran out of the classroom were killed. If I jump out the window, maybe there will be a chance of survival. Lei's body trembled. Suddenly, his gaze stopped. He saw the classmates falling. Lei was again faced with a choice. He had to choose between his instinct for self-preservation and his conscience. Without hesitation, he reached out to Leah, who was trembling in front of him, and opened the window. "Leah, grab my hand. There's no escape through the door. Jump. Out the window with me. Let's save at least one, your life," shouted Lakir uttered. "Your life after this will probably be full of storms." Leah, seeing the outstretched hand, hurried over to him. "Hurry! Run!" she said. The demon shouted out, "Leah, you're finished!" The smell of blood made them nauseous. Then they died suddenly. It was as if Lei woke up. "I'm alive!" Lei looked at his hands. "Am I really dead?" He then looked forward again and the scene repeated itself. Lei exclaimed, "No, it's not true." Lei turned around again, raising his hand. "Leah, good morning." Lei was surprised, wondering, "Am I not dead yet?" He went back to the moment before the demon appeared. Suddenly sounds rang out. A system screen appeared in front of Lee. He read the information on the screen. "What is this? A skill for envisioning the future? So everything happened in my foresight?" He looked at the bread on the table. "Am I the only one who sees this bread? Others don't see it. So these 10 minutes of my future are a prediction. Try all the options, then choose the best one." Lei smiled. "Anticipate the future. What's going to happen in 10 minutes, and I can survive." Lei looked out the window. When that spider fell, a demon appeared. "Time can't be turned back. We need to look into the future immediately." The system displayed a notification. Future anticipation skill activated. Beginning of the foresight state. Entering the foresight state. His eyes lit up. He stood up, slapped the table, and shouted, "The demon will appear soon. Everyone run." Lee jumped up and ran. The important thing is that everyone runs away from the classroom. He climbed up to the pulpit and shouted again, "The demon will be coming through the door soon. Jump out the window with me." The class was silent. Leah turned to her friend. "What's wrong with him? He's so weird. Lei was losing his patience, seeing his classmates' disbelief. We couldn't wait. When everyone saw the demon with their own eyes, it would be too late to run. But what to do? Once it appeared, there would be no time to escape. As he pondered, a terrifying force spilled out behind him. The demon appeared. The same terrifying face, the same sinister smile. He stood behind Lei, emitting a murderous aura. Roll call, students. Familiar words pierced the consciousness. Lei turned pale. The first bell. The bell. The system announced, future anticipation skill complete. Return to original state. A moment, and he was back in the past, in the moment before the demon appeared. His face darkened. He slapped the table with force. Reliving that bloody scene all over again, Lee felt nauseous. Clutching his chest, he coughed and vomited. His head was ringing. Disgusting scene. Disgusting smell of blood. Disgusting ending. Lei sat up, barely regaining consciousness. Lonnie, sitting in front, noticed his strange state. He glanced at his classmates. If they couldn't be persuaded to flee, beforehand he would have to stop the demon himself. He shifted his gaze to the door. The demon will be coming in soon. If I keep him here, the students can escape through the window. Deciding so, Lei used foresight again. He snapped out of his seat and rushed to the door. Suddenly, he ran into a classmate smoking a cigarette. Hey, what are you doing? You didn't even apologize, he exclaimed. The boy, surprised by Lei's speed, rushed after. Lei ran to the door, slammed it shut, and quickly locked it, spreading his arms out, covering the passage with himself. If I can stop the demon from getting in! Kier's voice came from outside the door. Le gritted his teeth and trembled. Roll call, students. The demon somehow poked its head through the door. The voice sounded familiar, but this time nothing was different. The first bell rang. Blood splattered on Lee's face again. The skill of envisioning the future is complete. He was back to a previous moment when nothing had happened yet. A feeling of helplessness squeezed his chest. He tried to change the future, but the door remained an insurmountable obstacle. Only the inexorable voice in my head could be heard. Everyone is going to die! I can't take it anymore. I can't. His body trembled. His fists clenched. He couldn't stand it any longer and shouted, I don't want to see any more of these scenes. The feeling of death made it hard to breathe. Why didn't I run away first? Why do I have to save them? We're not friends. I don't even know them. Lei hesitated again, choosing between self-preservation and conscience. Suddenly he felt a pleasant scent. Someone touched his shoulder. What's that smell? Lei turned around. Lynchy's classmate asked, Are you not feeling well? Lonnie, sitting up front, turned around. You don't look good. I'll call the nurse. The guys sitting next to him asked him too. Do you have a stomach ache? Go home and rest. I'll help you answer. Roll call. The attention of his classmates made Lei forget his thoughts. He realized that his first unconscious choice had revealed his true feelings. He remembered reaching out to Lonnie, so people would make the same choices. Lei closed his eyes, then opened them with a determined expression. Launching future anticipation, high. Once again entered the state of foresight. This time, he decided to attack the demon first. He grabbed a chair and lunged at him as he said, Begin roll call, disciples. If I attack first? But this time it was different. The first person the demon summoned was Lee. As soon as the demon Kier called his name, his head exploded. The demon changed the roll call order to attack him. The system issued a notification. There has been a system failure. Your spiritual power points have been reduced by 12. Lo calmed himself. I am dead. The more greed, the more despair, the more spiritual power is spent. Calm down. He went back to the moment before it happened. The state of anticipation ended and a new one began. Lee tried to push the classmates summoned first through the window to escape. He wondered how to take them all out one by one, but the demon wouldn't give him the chance. First man, Dean de Deux. The second man, Lee. Both he and his classmates had no sooner climbed out the window than their heads exploded. He tried everything, but failed miserably. Lei's spiritual power points have diminished again. He decided to hide under the table. But that meant nothing to the demon when he kept calling his name. There was no hiding. Every time he died, his spiritual power points decreased. After many attempts, he realized that the demon's attacks followed a certain rule. What kind of rule is that? Le couldn't find an answer. He kept dying countless times. Then he would come back, and his spiritual power points would decrease. After many attempts, the system issued an emergency warning. Spiritual power exhausted. Forced completion of foresight. There's only one shot left in 100. Just one last time. Lee looked out the window. He knew the demon would reappear. And then Lonnie, a classmate, appeared again, walking over and touching his shoulder. Lee turned his head and wondered, that familiar scent? It must be Lenoa's classmate. They looked at each other. There was a pleasant scent coming from Lenoa. Lee looked at Lenoa and seemed to realize something. He froze for 5 seconds. That's what stunned Lee. A bottle of perfume in Lonnie's hand. Lee got excited again. He had figured out how to change the situation. Lee stood up and slapped the table. Based on this moment, before the monster-killing classmates appeared, he stood there, counting the time, and decided to scream loudly, scaring his classmates. Lonnie, sitting far away, spotted him right away. About 30 seconds to go. Earthquake, Lenoa's classmate asked anxiously. Do we need to go to the schoolyard to hide? Lenoa asked. No, Lee replied. I don't know if my plan will succeed. He counted down the time. The classmates hesitated. 30 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds. You could really feel the tremors. People looked at him in confusion. I can't. Say the monster came. They won't believe it. I have to fool them with the earthquake story. Lou rushed forward, reaching out for Lonnie's bottle of perfume. To her surprise, Lee snatched the bottle and ran away. Lonnie and Desde stared after him. Lee ran forward, pointing to the window and shouting, Everyone jump out the window! The normal way is too long. Everybody jump out of the second-floor window. The class split into 2 camps. Some rushed out, believing in an earthquake. Others stayed where they were. Lee felt relieved. Luckily, the classroom is on the 2nd floor. The guy sitting in the classroom lit a cigarette, but he felt a jolt. He felt like he was shaking more and more. Lee grabbed the cigarette packet from him, surprising him a lot. Lee ran up and snatched the half-smoked cigarette from him. The man shouted, Lee! Lee continued his plan. He's running after me. We need to get everyone out of the classroom before the monster shows up. Ignoring his friend's anger, Lee continued to count down the time. The monster will appear soon. We need to help as many people escape as possible. Then he ran up and snatched the player from Dean while she was talking to Leah. Is the earthquake real? Let's run and then we'll figure it out. He stepped up to the pulpit, looking at the wavering men. Time was running short. We need more time to evacuate everyone. Only 20 seconds left. Many didn't believe it. Some classmates were asleep. Lei was nervous. A few other students didn't move from their seats. The monster is about to enter the classroom. There's no way to get everyone out, he shouted, urging everyone to run. The classmates ran to the door. Lei, looking at the people jumping from the window, felt relieved. The sky lit up with red light. The classmates stopped and looked up. The gate through which the monster will come has appeared. Countdown, 10 seconds left. Lee has to make a decision. There were shouts. Save everyone! Run! The monster is going to invade the school. Lee plugged Dean's player into the speaker. Half the class ran out. The music from my phone played on the speaker. The students were surprised by the loud music. People kept jumping out of windows. Lee looked at the classroom door that the monster was about to open. We need to stop the monster from attacking. 7 seconds before the monster appeared, Lee took out matches and lit them. What was the monster's attack? The monster was approaching the classroom. Lee placed a burning match in Lonnie's perfume bottle, determined to create a bomb. 4 seconds left. We need to push the door open. Every time the monster does a roll call, it's his only trick. 3 seconds. The monster has entered. He screamed, but he didn't have time to finish. Lee threw a bomb. I'll do it myself. His logic. A burning match in a bottle of Lonnie's perfume. 2 seconds before the monster appeared, Lee threw the bottle right at it. The burning bottle flew towards the monster, and the monster shouted out a name. M! The monster opened its mouth, allowing Lou to aim and throw. Lee decided to attack with a sound wave. Last second, Lee's plan worked halfway. He prevented the monster Kier from doing a roll call. His head and throat were burned from the bomb. Lee turned the music up to full volume. The classmates turned around. Run! Lee slammed the door, blocking the monster's path. His body was trembling. From fatigue, his face was pale. The music drowned out the sounds of the monster. People kept jumping out of windows. Lee was exhausted. Maybe this is the way to save everyone, except me. The monster outside was hitting the door with a shovel. Le blocked the door with his body. The monster was trying to open the door. Le was exhausted. Sweat was dripping off of him. He was on the verge of fainting. Everyone ran away, right? I have to leave. His vision narrowed. Dizzy. Spirits on edge. Everything went dark. Lei was on the verge of fainting. His body was heavy. La had 1 point of spiritual power left. He tried to drag his tired body to the window. The monster was about to rush in and he couldn't walk. Pity. Scary. It's too early to be a hero. Lei looked at his hands. But if you do it again... My eyes blurred. The hands were trembling. But if it happens again, I'll probably try again. At the critical moment, a hand reached out and called to him. Lei, give me your hand. It's Lani. She supported his heavy body and said, Let's jump. They walked to the window and prepared to climb out. Lani helped Lei climb up onto the windowsill. Together they jumped down and landed. Everyone in the schoolyard looked up. Everyone was scared. Lei was very tired. He couldn't lift his head. He breathed a sigh of relief. I did it. I saved everyone. Lei smiled and looked at Lani. She was trembling. Le thought she would be happy to be rescued, but she had a different expression on her face, which surprised him. The gate in the sky opened wider and wider. The sky turned red. The gate opened. Monsters began to emerge from the gate. Countless monsters were falling on the city. Le saw that after one disaster came another. Countless monsters came out to attack. Countless monsters were falling on the city. The gate opened. Lo looked at the chaos around him. Everyone around them were demons. All were ordinary people who had not yet awakened. Everyone was frightened and stood frozen. Are we all going to die? Suddenly, a halo of light appeared under their feet. The circle grew larger and larger, encompassing everyone. What's that? Le put his hand on the circle and rejoiced. This is a barrier. Is it? Several demons attacked the barrier but were stopped. Everyone was safe inside. The Hunters Association has arrived. A female voice addressed everyone. Stay inside the barrier. The captain will arrive soon. Then everyone will be saved. Her name is Bachelin. She uses spatial movement to maintain the barrier and protect everyone. Bachelin is a level 1 hunter. Lo was happy about that. Great. Everyone is saved. But the barrier was crowded. Everyone was pushing. Lei could only shout, Don't push! Dede was pushed. She flew out of the barrier. Lei turned around sharply, alarm in his voice. Dede is behind the barrier. Lani froze when she saw her friend in danger. Holding back tears, she called out to her. Her classmates were worried. Who would save her? To get out of the barrier would be certain death. Would the hunters be able to help? Bechelin, who was supporting the barrier, couldn't move. The structure was cracking, ready to collapse. Lei staggered and tried to stand up, but his legs wouldn't obey. Meanwhile, Dede had spotted the demon. A faint scream escaped her lips. There was terror in its eyes. Before she could do anything, the demon with the body of a lizard pounced on her. 3 heads closed their jaws, preventing any escape. Lei gritted his teeth, looking around inside the barrier. There were large scissors lying on the ground. He grabbed them and rushed forward, yelling for Dede to hold on. Bachelin announced anxiously, The barrier will not hold. At that moment, a snowstorm appeared in the sky. Someone exclaimed, Is it rain? But no, the snowflakes turned into ice blocks falling downward. A bright light flashed, drawing the attention of the 3-headed demon. All monsters are frozen in ice. Rank S skill. Endless ice formation. Lee froze, his face darkening. Not only the demon was among the frozen, but also Dede. The barrier collapsed. Young man's voice was heard. Why wasn't I informed? Cold and confident, he stepped forward. He was the one who froze all the monsters. Bachelin urgently relayed to headquarters, The campus has been destroyed in a monster attack. The crowd cheered. The hunter had arrived. The monsters had been defeated. Everyone looked at Bayer with admiration. Everyone except Le Bayer calmly announced, the danger was over. Everyone was saved. But no sooner had he finished speaking than Lo punched him in the face. Angrily, he grabbed his collar, his voice trembling with rage. He hadn't seen that there was a human behind the barrier. Dede froze with the demon. The crowd froze. Lani couldn't hold back her tears. Bayer, having gotten a hit, quickly checked out Lei's information. Lei didn't stop. He knew someone was there, but he attacked anyway. He killed her. Bayer laughed coldly. Who shouts so boldly? Ah, a man who has never seen war. Ice in his voice. I've been a hunter for years. I wouldn't dare dream of such a thing. He grabbed Lei's hand, froze his legs, and continued. If I hadn't destroyed them all at once, the barrier would have collapsed. Then the monsters would have gotten to you. Everyone would die. Save one or save 1,000? Do you understand? Lee wanted to object, but Bayer only grinned. You're just a kid. Bayer turned and walked away, leaving one last phrase, wait until you can evaluate my actions. Bacheline has assembled a team. The gate must be closed or the monsters will not stop. Back to school. Classmates thanked Lo and hugged him. If it wasn't for you, we'd be dead. You're our hero, but one of the students, brought up Bayer. He's too cold. He saw Day as a monster and killed her. What if it had been one of us? Lee was silent. Recalling the events, he finally said, I overreacted. It's not his fault. He saved us. He's a hero. But deep down, I couldn't accept it. If I had a choice, I would want everyone to have the right to life. Bayer's gaze flashed back in his mind. Next time, I'll make my own choices. The decision came instantly. He would become a hunter, a better hunter than Bayer. A few years ago, suicides are on the rise on campus. Students are no longer surprised. School violence has become the norm. But strangely, neither the police nor the teachers received calls for help. The victims suffered in silence, and the bullies continued with impunity. The only hope, the teachers, remained an illusion. They did not intervene. The National Association of Hunters launched an investigation. The conclusion was eerie. The monster was the ghosts of students who had committed suicide. The last thing they saw were the indifferent faces of the teachers. That was how the monster appeared, an amalgamation of their hatred and despair. He had now materialized through the demon gate. His countless clones had simultaneously appeared in 340 classes of the university. The plan is simple. Kill the students, open the sea level gate, and release more monsters. Present tense. Lo sat on the couch watching the news. A monster in the shape of a glass ball. Anxiety clutched his chest. Compared to that, his personal worries seemed insignificant. He took the phone. The school had given a week off after the attack. In the class chat, everyone was thanking him for saving the day. I'm a hero? Thoughts were interrupted by a notification tone. Hello, Lei. Level F awakened. Your allowance has been transferred to your account. Lee opened the system data. Strength, 13. Dexterity, 11. Physique, 7. Spiritual strength, 100 years, 8. 8 states, not awakened. The last line made my heart clench. I am but an awakened one of the lowest level. Even that level is a deception. He slowly unbuttoned his shirt. There was a necklace hanging from his chest. 15 years ago, his mother disappeared. He was left with nothing. To continue his studies, he used the only value left to her, the necklace. Officially awakened, but in reality, an ordinary man. This necklace was unique. It could open a 21 gigabyte space warehouse. He pulled a picture out of it. That's the mother in the picture. Only the corner's been torn off. He didn't remember her face. Mom, my whole childhood is imprinted on my memory. Everything except the night she disappeared. Something's changed since then. He's different. A week ago. After the monsters attacked, he felt strange. His mental capacity has increased. The system showed spiritual power increased from 100 years 7 to 100 years 8. Why? It has nothing to do with waking up. He's still not awakened. But then, what is this power? The age no longer favors the awakened. Only a few with fighting abilities can become hunters and fight monsters. Lee had been thinking about it all week. His gaze fell on the phone on the table. The decision has been made. He'll apply to join the Hunters Association. He'll hunt, but not for heroism, for strength. Next time, he'll save whoever he wants. In addition, the association could search for lost documents. The higher the level of the hunter, the more authority. He might be able to find the mother. Hunters. Association chapter. I'm sorry. The employee looked at him with a tense face. Tell Gia to cancel the request. There are almost no awakened below level B. This isn't a child's game. Lee scratched his head and smiled, but inside he was focused. His goal is not just to become a hunter. System notification. Entering a state of anticipation. Countdown, 9 minutes and 59 seconds. He was thinking, if he could see the future for 10 minutes, it would change everything. The employee sighed heavily, gestured to follow her, but don't get your hopes up. The abilities of the awakened rarely change suddenly. If I say the result in advance, can I check? It's easy. A couple times at most. Lee smiled, but suddenly froze. Bayer's group was walking down the hallway. Level S assignment. Exit in 30 seconds. The crowd exploded with cheers of admiration. Lei clenched his fists. Bayer had gotten an S-level assignment, then he's incredibly strong. When their gazes met, Bayer suddenly stopped and looked at Lei. Does he remember me? Bayer snorted and walked. Anli's face darkened. Anger boiled up, but Fee stopped him. Stay out of it, he'll kill you. System notification. Anticipation time is 5 minutes and 55 seconds. Lo, following Fee's lead, couldn't help himself. Sister Fee, if someone can predict the future for 10 minutes, what is their level? Fee looked at him in surprise. At least C or S. Which one is stronger? Fee frowned. You don't understand anything about hunters or this world. Fee explained, if an awakened person has a time-related ability, foreseeing the future or going back in time, it is automatically considered SSS level. Little Black's eyes lit up. Is it that powerful? Fee nodded. Such people are taken by a government organization. They become strategic weapons. They are protected, but no one ever sees their faces. The words seemed flattering, but Chu realized that it was no different than imprisonment. Meanwhile, Fee continued, hunters are always looking for people like that. I want to get strong, but not so strong that I get locked up. She turned to Jiayu. Do you know how a hunter's level is determined? It's not about current strength, it's about potential. The ability to foresee the future for 10 minutes can decide the outcome of a war. In large-scale battles, victory or defeat is decided in the blink of an eye. Such a person can determine the outcome of a battle. Little Black froze. The thought of being used in a war made him go cold. A shiver ran through his body. I just wanted to know where my mother was. These days, he thought his gift would come in handy at the store, predicting how much water would be left in the eye. Bottle. But now he had learned. People like him could be counted on one hand. The last known awakened with temporal powers was a girl with the ability to change the past. But that was 20 years ago, and she's since disappeared. The Dark Hunters are still searching for her trail. Disappearance Phi turned around. Let's start checking. But Little Black wasn't there. The question arose in her mind. Where did he disappear? To? He escaped, running down the hallway, heart pounding frantically. If they find me, I'll be locked up. He didn't want war or power. He just wanted a mother, but he couldn't defend himself. He can't join the Hunters Association. His ability can't be detected by artificial intelligence, but that doesn't mean no one would guess. Remaining foresight time, 58 seconds. He gasped, stopping. I'm just an ordinary student. Let them leave saving the world to the heroes. Disaster, but suddenly a portal opened in front of him. Little Black froze. Is that a vice captain's skill, Butlin? Butlin fell out of the portal. Her body was battered, blood flooding the floor. She tried to sit up, her voice weak. Intelligence. Mission. Level. His lips quivered, blood spurting from his mouth. Linear squad. Killed in action. She froze, her body shuddering. Hurry! Call the paramedics! But someone shook their head. It's too late. Little Black stared in a daze. The linear squad, the strongest in Tanhai, is destroyed in 10 minutes. A system message appeared on the screen. Countdown complete. Li Xiaohei is surprised when the timer on the screen reaches 0. The woman tries to stop him, but he abruptly pulls away and walks away. He runs determinedly down the hallway with the girl watching him. A group of people are walking down a nearby hallway, discussing something. Bailing and Bayer stand next to Thunderbolt and the man with the creepy clown smile. Bayer presses his finger to his ear as if listening to a command. Everyone looks serious. The young man grinningly watches the famous team while Xiaohei stands at the end of the hallway. He is tense and anxious. The girl next to him is surprised by his behavior. Bailing and Bayer, being among the uniformed men, get some information. Bayer is thoughtful. Suddenly he gets punched in the face, which surprises even Thuggy. He is dumbfounded. Xiaohei decides. He has to hold out for 10 minutes. Bayer falls on his back. Everyone is shocked, one of the people present shouts. Xiaohei grabs the man by the tie. The young man clutches Bayer's tie with a grim smile. He is frightened. Everyone is terrified of what's going on. Xiaohei continues to hold the tie. Bai Ling looks at his watch in surprise. The others are shocked. He senses the impending danger and imagines begging for mercy in front of the sinister figure. Sweat drips down his face. He's sure he won't live to see the end of the countdown. Bayer looks mad. Xiaohei grabs him by the lapel, and Bayer's face is hidden in the shadows, surrounded by a grim aura. Bayer clenches his fist and a red flash of anger surrounds him. Xiaohei closes her eyes and Bailing is still keeping track of time as her partner strikes. She looks at her watch intently and counts something. Xiaohei sweated and regretted his hasty decision to intervene. Bai Ling emotionally speaks to the man with the painted face while pointing at his watch. Everything around you begins to glow with a blue light. Bai Ling activates an unknown power, causing everyone around him to be surprised. Xiaohei is extremely nervous and covered in sweat. He is clearly anxious. Bai Ling floats in the air, while Bayer and Xiaohei stand on the ground. The group has reached the mission site. Xiaohei is shocked, but notices that Bai Ling remains calm. He realizes that he has come here with her. Bai Ling explains that because of the physical contact during the teleportation, she had to take him with her. There wasn't enough magic to transport everyone, especially since one of them didn't have magic power. The two were left behind. Xiaohei is horrified to realize that he has caused the team to lose 2 fighters. He is terrified, but he tries to calm himself down, thinking that the task should be simple. The group, including Bayer, moves down a trash-strewn street. They are heading towards the target. Bayer casts an angry glance at Xiaohei. Bai Ling is beside him, looking worried. Bayer looks tense. Behind him walks a frightened Xiaohei. Bayer holds the man roughly by the head. Another man observes nearby. He declares that he will arrest the young man after the task is completed. Xiaohei can't hold back his tears. He looks devastated. In the background, wounded bodies can be seen. Xiaohei continues to cry. The young man touches the ground with his finger and faces an unexpected threat. He and Bai Ling thought the task would only be D rank. Xiaohei resolutely runs away, saying that he is not going to save anyone. He panics and wants to leave the dangerous place as soon as possible. Suddenly, he is grabbed by the collar. Bayer pulls Xiaohei back, holding tightly onto his clothes. He declares that as long as he himself is alive, nothing will happen to his team. Bayer promises to protect him and asks him not to leave his sight. Xiaohei, distraught, cries again. Bayer notices how his words give the young man confidence. They discuss the absence of a gate in the sky. The psychic association has already picked up traces of the monster. Xiaohei continues to cry. Bayer asks him not to explain anything. Someone talks about the appearance of monsters in the city. Bayer looks surprised and concerned, pondering someone's mental state. Someone clarifies whether they are part of the Hunters Guild and expresses surprise that there are fewer than expected. Suddenly, everyone is distracted by someone's voice. An elderly woman introduces herself as the chairman of the House Committee. She says that she has already informed the association about the discovery of a strange cult statue in one of the warehouses and invites them to follow her. The group stands amongst the ruined buildings. It's an old part of town that was promised to be demolished long ago but never started. The locals first hoped for a quick profit and then got involved with mysticism and sex. Xiaohei holds her head, tired of being lectured. Bai Ling and Bayer watch while the woman complains about the youth and her son. She is compared to annoying neighbors. Xiaohei looks around the poor street and reflects on the plight of the residents. He walks past a fruit vendor. One of the passers-by looks at him suspiciously. Xiaohei looks around the ruined street. A man with a cane is pointing at something, and a woman nearby is rolling a bicycle. He is concerned that there are no children to be seen on the street. He was sweating. Some white paper stuck to his face. Turns out it's a missing child's ad. He is amazed at the accuracy of the data. Age today. He is amazed at how many children have disappeared here. The group arrives at the site. It is either early morning or late evening outside. Xiaohei, Bayer, and Bai Ling stand at the closed gate of the warehouse. An old woman is fiddling with the lock, complaining that the key doesn't work. Earlier, they were taking things out of the warehouse and came across a mysterious statue. Bayer instructs the team. Danger is possible. He demands caution, and in the event of an emergency, to rescue civilians first. An old woman looks around and irritatedly asks what the young people are whispering about. She grumbles that they sit on their phones too much and don't respect their elders. Xiaohei, Bai Ling, Bayer, and Thunderbolt listen to her with confused faces. The group walks into a room. One of them points to something inside. Bayer walks ahead. Xiaohei is shocked. He looks at a monster that looks like a skeleton with spikes. There is a scattering of skulls all around. A creature with bone growths and a skull-like face looks up. With a bloody mouth, Xiaohei remembers seeing Bai Ling dead next to the same bone growths. He is sweating, frightened and tense, realizes that his squad died here. The door suddenly closes. The group is in alarm, one of them pointing at the girl. The woman stands with her gaze downcast. Xiaohei is frightened and covered in sweat. They, along with Bayer and 2 unknown men, arrive on the scene. The woman with the knife is surprised that there are only 4 of them. She's worried. She recalls how she promised a high five for her father's treatment and fears that now she won't be able to keep her word. A sinister smile appears on her face. Suddenly, with a contorted face, she plunges the knife into her neck. Bai Lin, Bayer, and Thunderbolt are shocked. Everyone looks up with alarm and incomprehension. Xiaohei is frightened and tense. He feels danger approaching, sweat dripping from his face. He's focused, thinking intensely, trying to figure out what's going on. The group retreats in horror. The thug is in a fighting stance. A body lies on the ground. Xiaohei is alarmed. Bai Ling decisively declares that he will not abandon his own, a woman lying in a pool of blood. Blood begins to rise into the air. The thug is in shock, covered in sweat, droplets of blood flying around. He's shocked at what's happening. The bone-armored monster squirmed as if in agony. The woman's face distorts, exposing her skull. Her eyes glow red, and a sinister energy swirls around her. She is enraged or suffering. They watch in horror at the monster engulfed in a blood-red aura. The men are terrified. Xiaohei hears something and abruptly turns around. Bai Ling is alarmed. He's stunned. He realizes something important and decides not to fight. Bayer, Bai Lin, and two others panic and find they can't move or use powers. They are paralyzed by the red light. The monster with sharp claws rushes forward furiously, its eyes blazing, its face a fierce grin. The creature with spikes on its body lets out a wild scream. Its eyes glow with a bloody light. A monster attacks the group. Bayer is horrified. He screams. Sharp blades pierce the bodies with force, blood splattering. Xiaohei is tense and worried, breathing heavily. He seemed to have passed some kind of test and realized that the statue was not to be looked at. Bai Ling tells the anxious Xiaohei something important. Both of them are excited. One of the men shouts in panic for no one to look at the statue. Its eyes are filling with blood. Xiaohei loudly warns everyone not to open their eyes. The thug is perplexed as to how the young man knows this rule. Xiaohei begs to believe him. He says he is now one of them. Bayer is puzzled, his partner trembling with tension. Bayer, flustered, orders everyone to close their eyes immediately. The monster's eyes blaze red, blood dripping from its wounds. Its grin is frightening. The transformation looks painful and frightening. Shrouded in red energy, the monster seemed to be shackled by invisible chains, unable to move. The spiky monster towers over the team, looming like a threat. One of the men feels everything around him slowing down. He is sweating and suspects that this is due to the strange light. He is frightened by the thought of what would happen if he opened his eyes. Xiaohei gives an order with a shout. At this moment, Bayer and two others are attacked by energy blades. Bai Ling creates an energy shield, reflecting the enemy's strike. Bayer and Xiaohei were worried, sweating from the exertion. Xiaohei realizes how complex the situation is. Every action leads to new, unpredictable consequences. He gathers his thoughts, fully focused and ready to act. The team is protected by an energy barrier with red rays shining through it. Bayer tensed, sweat streaming down his face. He's clearly worried. Xiaohei is immersed in thought, the tension not going away. He wonders how much longer they can stay inside the barrier. The barrier fails. The group is killed in the attack. Everything goes back 10 minutes. They start over. Bayer rushes forward, a puff of dust trailing behind him. He dodges flying shards, creating a wall of ice and protecting Thunderbolt. So far, everything's going according to plan. Xiaohei is focused, formulating a plan, sweat pouring from his face. He seems to have made a decision related to the chance of salvation. The girl raises her arms, defending herself. The monster glows with dangerous energy. Xiaohei is shocked. Bayer and the man in the suit attack, unleashing energy blades. He yells out, calling for defense. The man in the suit is wounded and cries out in pain. Xiaohei is horrified, blood spatters flying in the background. Xiaohei hurries everyone, urging them to speed up. One of the men reacts anxiously to his words. The thug is concentrating on activating the technique, green energy emanating from him. The bone monster attacks with sharp blades. The thug forms an energy field, protecting himself and possibly others. There was a massive explosion. The team struggles to stay on their feet, green energy spreading around them. Bayer looks tense. He realizes that he has grossly underestimated the enemy's abilities. Xiaohei screams, drops of sweat dripping down his face. He's clearly at his limit. When spikes grow out of the ground, Bai Ling immediately lifts the entire group into the air. Then, she tightens up her defenses, creating a barrier. Bayer does the same thing. Xiaohei and Bai Ling dodge the increasingly aggressive energy attacks. Xiaohei notices that the enemy is targeting him. With no other way out, they try to escape, but are once again killed. Xiaohei breaks down into a scream and orders a run. He and Bayer face off, seething with rage. It's headed for a fight. They fight, grabbing each other's ties. The tension between them is off the charts. Huddled together, they shout at each other, each gripped by anger. After another explosion, the girl drags all the guys on her back again. It turns out that the monster has been defeated. Bai Ling bounced up sharply, dodging the shockwave. The door turns out to be locked. The group runs away from the flying sharp blades. They panic. A powerful blow blows a hole, several people flying backwards. The monster is slowly quieting down. Xiaohei is breathing heavily, his face covered in sweat. He's exhausted. He realizes that his comrade's strength is also running low. He thinks he's finally saved, but realizes that his mental energy is almost depleted. He remembers that it was an S-rank monster attack. Suddenly, Bayer grabs him by his tie. Xiaohei is tense and sweaty, and Bayer looks smug. When Bayer has something to say, he is suddenly hit over the head. Xiaohei is stunned. Behind him, someone swings a long object at him. He's in danger. It's chaos outside. Several people lying. On the ground, a crowd all around. A group with crazed looks and evil smirks approaches Xiaohei. One of them is holding a stick. Their intentions are clearly hostile.